If you're watching this video and if you're listening to me right now, if you haven't, I implore you, please to go read a lot more about Legends material. The expanded universe and canon right now under Disney is just so disproportionately different that at times it's really hard to explain to the fans what we missed since everything has been completely shuffled, and sometimes I find myself even finding minute details that have nothing to do with anything that have been completely changed. For me, the big difference was, of course, the relationship between Palpatine and Darth Vader. Now that the 2020 and 2024 version of Darth Vader comics have ended with issue number 50, we again see a recycled version of the comics where Darth Vader practically has nothing to do because Palpatine has plot armor, and at the end of these series, Darth Vader again goes by Palpatine's side and nothing really changes. Whereas in the other issues, we constantly saw, in Legends especially, we saw Darth Vader getting challenged and challenging Palpatine so directly that those stories were pretty interesting, vibrant, and they had real gruff to them. They were done by people who wanted to challenge the reader, who wanted to challenge us, the Star Wars fans, into understanding the relationship between these two psychopaths a lot more than just Empire and I'm a better Sith than you, or I know more Force powers and I can play with my lightsaber better. It's really been degraded, I've seen, as the years have gone by. There's not a lot of philosophy, some, but not a lot. More, it's just fan service, and I'm really frustrated. And the frustrating part is that particular question, which I've always known and which I've always talked about, which is Palpatine at times, and it looked like that from afar, he kind of hated what Darth Vader became. He kind of hated that he didn't get that prime apprentice in Anakin Skywalker. He got a downgraded version of Darth Vader in a mechanical suit that he is very much limited in. To make matters worse, he tested his apprentice in various and sometimes difficult ways. For example, in Legends, Palpatine intentionally gave Vader a very disheveled, decrepit suit. This was done intentionally to just test Vader, to make his life miserable, and of course to keep him under his thumb, because as we see in Return of the Jedi, that's why Vader dies at the end, because he gets hit with a bolt of lightning and essentially his life circuits were crisp. They were shocked. But in canon, we have one of the first issues of Darth Vader in 2018 where Palpatine simply asks Vader if his suit is comfortable and if he likes his suit, and Vader just replies with, "It is acceptable," and that's it. So all you have is that little tidbit, and you have another instance where Palpatine walks in on Vader in a bacta tank and Vader is fixing his suit. I mean, it's just nothing really of context. It can be pretty frustrating. If you're gonna change everything, then a pretty good question by the fans is, why didn't Vader upgrade his suit, and would Palpatine allow him to upgrade his suit? Because we know that Palpatine didn't wear any piece of armor. He was all natural, baby. And by all accounts, he kinda hated Sith armor, and in particular, he hated Darth Vader's armor. This creates a lot of problems and a lot of questions as to why didn't Darth Vader simply upgrade his suit, neither in Legends or now in canon apparently. I've seen fans speculate about the new suit as well, about an upgraded suit. No doubt Vader would have been an absolute terror to anybody with a new suit, to anybody who went up against him. This suit would have made him physically stronger, gave him more mobility, and he would have been resistant to electricity. This is the main issue and the main problem we come across, is that the old suit was specifically designed to not be insulated from electricity, and this was done intentionally, of course, by Palpatine, by Sidious, who wanted to keep his apprentice in check. Remember me saying in the beginning that Palpatine was not adherent to the old Sith traditions. He cheated at this point. With a new suit, Vader would destroy Sidious. I think that he would focus on his losses and how no matter what he did, he will never be the Anakin he once was. His physical pain wasn't even half of what pushed him so far into the dark side of the Force. In some of the novelization in the 80s, I remember reading something along the lines of, after so many years, Vader and the suit were one and the same, where metal and flesh were fused as blood, vein, and circuits. The only parts you could separate were the cape and the minor parts. Anything else could compromise and rapidly decay his zombie-like body. In the end, that armor was his link to this realm and the source of his pain, but a reminder that he was still alive. So Darth Vader's attire, of course, ranks amongst the most fascinating and symbolically potent designs in the entire Star Wars saga. It is towering, it is intimidating, and imbued with an aura of authority that perfectly matches the Sith Lord's stature. However, it also had its limitations. Of course, a prevalent question that often arises is hence the point of this video: why didn't Vader upgrade his suit? As one of the Empire's top-ranking officials, he certainly had the resources. And I think now it's the perfect time to actually find an answer. Let's provide a brief summary, shall we? It wasn't the loss of his limbs that truly incapacitated him, although it indeed impeded him and initially hampered his Force usage. The real nightmare of Vader's existence started with his burns on Mustafar. Anakin endured 4th-degree burns across almost his entire body. These burns penetrated beyond his skin, reaching his muscles, bones, and in some instances even organs. As we see, Vader has trouble breathing. His suit functioned as a portable life support system, but also served as a form of torment, deliberately designed by Palpatine as retribution for his defeat at the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So Palpatine never anticipated that Vader could lose to Obi-Wan. In Sidious's view, Obi-Wan was unremarkable, he wasn't that special, and he wasn't the skilled swordsman in the Jedi Order, let alone being the all-powerful one in the Force. Nothing about Obi-Wan screamed that he could have a chance against the Chosen One. At most, Sidious regarded Obi-Wan as a mere emotional hurdle for Anakin at that time. He even says this to Yoda in Revenge of the Sith. It's somewhat surprising that Palpatine would utter such a statement, since he is primarily concerned with his own survival. So as a Sith, he is on his 3rd apprentice. Maul had subsided, Dooku was dead, and with Anakin following Maul and Dooku. In the Sith Handbook, Palpatine professes his belief that the rule of 2 ends with him. He explicitly declares his disinterest in finding a successor and aims to reign eternally, relegating Vader to just a subordinate. And if you go back and look at it, this is how he also treated his 2 other apprentices, and at no point do we get a real admittance that Palpatine would ever expect these 3 to defeat him. Darth Vader's suit barely kept him alive. This is evident in the material, providing the bare essentials for motor functions and survival, but nothing really more. The only reason why Vader was so powerful was because of his anger. Otherwise, his suit was really defective at many points. So why didn't he upgrade? Well, the answer is multifaceted kinda. A more sophisticated suit would significantly improve systems and movements, controls, but this new suit would have offered him nearly the same mobility as his old self Anakin and would have had superior auditory systems. But the first problem would have been that this new suit, even though it would have been ready and waiting for him, the process of transferring him to this new suit might have proven fatal. This is one of the reasons. The myriad of wires and systems keeping Vader alive posed a high risk of death during this procedure. Disconnecting him from the life support systems, even momentarily, could be proven to be disastrous. The surgical team would have had to rewire his respiratory system, his heart rate regulator, which could have proven lethal to Vader because of the time it would take. Even if Palpatine was willing to help, which I sincerely doubt, using the dark side to sustain Vader during this procedure, it would have been unlikely that it would have enhanced Vader's survival, a risk Palpatine was not willing to take. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Should Vader have upgraded his suit? Talk to me down below.